hugely important to the manipulation of the whole thing. And I mentioned this on that first rally I spoke at. That this was one of the parts of this is one of the original foundations of the illusion that they've been building on ever since.
You have the right to know the potential benefit of any intervention. For example, Pfizer reported that its vaccine shows a 95% efficacy. That sounds like it protects you 95% of the time, right? But that's not actually what that number means. That 95% refers to the relative risk reduction, but it doesn't tell you how much your overall risk is reduced by vaccination. For that, we need absolute risk reduction. In the Pfizer trial, 8 out of 18,198 people who were given the vaccine developed COVID-19. In the unvaccinated placebo group, 162 people got it, which means that even without the vaccine, the risk of contracting COVID-19 was extremely low at 0.88%, which the vaccine then reduced to 0.04%.
So excuse me, 0.08 or 0.8%. I was just pulling it off the top of my head. So there's the breakdown right in front of you. For those on the podcast, you just heard it. 0.88% versus 0.04%. Now keep watching.
So the net benefit, or the absolute risk reduction that you're being offered with a Pfizer vaccine, is 0.84%. That 95% number, that refers to the relative difference between 0.88 and 0.04%. That's what they call 95% relative risk reduction. And relative risk reduction is well known to be a misleading number, which is why the FDA recommends using absolute risk reduction instead,
Think about how crazy that is. They know that, and that's why they chose to say it, because it makes it look more serious. It's all there for you to look at, guys, like everything we talk about. Historically speaking, if they think it's a misleading number, if they think it looks, this is about tricking people into thinking what they have is good. How do we not see this? The other illusions, the using of the PCR test and the cycle threshold and the manipulation, the adding of flu and pneumonia. This is about building an illusion from the ground floor, which is why I've always argued that it's just as likely, or at the very least, put it this way, it's possible that something like this could literally be completely fake. I'm not even necessarily saying that I believe that's what's happening. I'm still have that open possibility. But there's a lot of other things that challenge that. But just realize that let's just hypothetically say a government wanted to create something like this. All of the tools are there for them. All of them. It's happened before, in fact. So just consider that. To realize that all I'm making in that saying in that point is that the illusion, even if it is a base real concept, is very, very clear based on things just like this.
Absolute risk reduction instead, which begs the question, how many people 85% relative risk reduction? And relative risk reduction is well known to be a misleading number, which is why the FDA recommends using absolute risk reduction instead, which begs the question, how many people would have chosen to take the COVID-19 vaccines had they understood that they offered less than 1% benefit?
Think about that, guys. It's staggering.